Hello. We're now up to exercise 17 in lesson 10, and this is for self-employment business income. Me working on William Martin's return. Bear with me, this will be pretty long. So we're told that William Martin were given a copy of his Social Security statement, and I've entered that already. And we're going to go and take a look at it. And here it is. And I entered the payment benefit that he received, $13,682. He paid or had withheld $2,000 in federal. He does have $2,803 of Medicare premiums. We're told not to enter that now. What we're going to try to do, we know he has self-employment. We're going to try to do is add that premium to his self-employment expenses that he can then deduct or reduce his income, his business income. So we're going to leave this alone for now and save it. Now next, we're provided with two 1099 NECs for two businesses he supported. We go to the income section, and in here we'll see that down under income is a 1099 NEC for non-employment compensation. We could have gone to the form finder. This time I'm just going to open here, and it asks us first to create this entry for the payer information. The payer information is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is Jane's Cafe. There's William Martin's information. And here is the actual entry fields, or are the entry fields for the 1099 NEC. And he had $3,200 of compensation on this 1099 NEC. Nothing else is filled in. We're going to save it by continuing. And now it asks us, do we want to create a business income Schedule C for expenses or Schedule F for farm? Well, this is business income Schedule C. So we say, let's go create it. It's going to ask us for the name and business. Well, it's Baldwin Painting. We know the name of his business name. Employer ID, he's using his own Social Security number as his identifier. His address is here. It is 14-3 Concord Lane. We'll key that in. Zip code is Plymouth 02360. Business type. There's a business code associated with these business. We're provided it. If you weren't provided with the business code, you can look them up. There's a list of business codes that you can find by clicking here, which I've done. You can see the various codes. You get used to doing this after a while if it's not provided. I'm going to go up and close out of here by hitting this red button up here. And it returns me back to the business type field. Well, we provided it. It's 238320. And look, it comes up with a description of business painting wall. So we're going to leave that there. This now will create the Schedule C. And now we can go into Schedule C and we can input business expenses. So before we do that, though, we have another 1099 NEC. So I'm going to go here to a 1099 NEC. I want to input the second NEC. And this is up here, add another one. Payer information. Now we're going to put in the payer ID for this one, 543456789. That is Alice's Bistro. The recipient information is in, and here is the information, here the fields for the 1099 NEC, and he received $6,500 in income or compensation from Alice's Bistro. And now we're going to say continue, and it's going to say, how do you want to do this? So we're going to say it's business income. Well, there's already one that exists for this taxpayer. And so it says, would you like to create, how would you like to report it? You want a new Schedule C? Is it a different business that he has? Or report this on Schedule C I already created for my business? Well, we want to join the two of them together. This is for one business. It's his painting company. And we'll say that, and it says, is this for Baldwin Painting? And we're going to leave that alone and say, yep, accept it. So now we're going to go in and we're going to put in his business expenses, which are provided And on there, it asks us not to put in his Medicare amount yet. So on the forms, here's his income. We already put in with the two 1099 NECs an amount that totals $9,700. So that's automatically added in. It tells us that he has cash checks and so forth for an amount of $32,867. Right here it says gross receipts or sales, including income from a K1, but it's just gross receipts. This is where any checks of money he received. So this would be the $32,867 would go in here. That's now been entered. Okay, we have general expenses. And general expenses on the first one on the sheet we've been provided, which is a Schedule C worksheet, it shows advertising of $350. So we're going to key in $350 here. What else? Well, next to health insurance premiums. These are not the ones for his Medicare. These are other health insurance premiums. And here it is, health insurance, $3,400. Is $95 of licensing and fees. Well, his commissions and fees. I'm going to put the $95 in here. His business miles, we're going to leave that alone for a minute. Business part of phone. Well, what would that be? Let's look it up. Maybe that's like an office expense or something like that. And sure enough, there it is, an office expense. So that's $695. We're going to key that in. Tools. I don't see tools anywhere here. Maybe there's somewhere else we can put tools. So let's put that aside for a moment. Paint. Paint is $87.45. Well, that looks kind of like supplies. Let's key it in at supplies, $87.45. Liability insurance of $478. There's insurance here. There it is, other than health, which it is, $478. Business cards. Well, business cards is another, you'll learn this, is another form of advertising. So I can add the two together here. I can actually go in here and I could add in a description as well for business cards. And the amount is $317. Say continue. And continue. All right. But now it hasn't, I'm just going to put advertising. It eliminated the advertising amount. So I need to make sure that $350 is here. So the total should be $667. Good. Personalized coveralls. Don't know what that is. I haven't seen anything in here that would cover it. So we're going to leave here. I think we put in all the expenses that we could fit on this sheet. Down here is something called other expenses. This is where we can put in individual expenses. What haven't we input yet? Well, we didn't know where to put tools. And this is where I'm going to put tools. What was the amount for the tools? It was $598. What else do we have? Well, we had coveralls. So we're going to say $250 that he used. And that's it. That's it for anything that we had not input, didn't know where to put it. I do need to go back and check on one thing. In general expenses, I want to make sure that we put in under office expense, yep, the $695. Yep, double check that, made sure that was fine. Paint was put in, everything's in. The only thing that remains now is to put in, we'll say continue here, the business use of trucks. So car and truck expenses, and here it is. All right, description of vehicle. They tell us it's a truck. Date you placed it in service for business purposes. Let's go back and look. And find it in here anywhere. Let's go back to the prior page here. Doesn't say. Oh, sorry. May of 1998. So May 98. Let's just put the first day, beginning. Business miles, how many? 1960 he provides. Commuting miles, 5,900. And then other miles, 9,546. Total miles. Check if you have your spouse another vehicle available for personal use. Suppose he told us that he did. We would check that. Check if your vehicle is available for personal use. Well, we did use it for other things, so it probably was. You'd ask the taxpayer these questions. Check if you have evidence to support your deduction. Say he does. And if yes, check the evidence is written. All a taxpayer would need here is really a log, just a written down log to say, on this day I traveled 20 miles. On this day I traveled 15 business miles, and keeping track of all those business miles. If the IRS comes back, that's all they're going to be looking for is a log of dates and number of miles. That would be sufficient. So we're finished with car and truck. We're finished now with the entry that we had for that exercise. So that's exercise 17. That's how you enter NECs for businesses, for non-employee compensation, and then generate a Schedule C and share that Schedule C for income received from different parties. So that's exercise 17. Next, we'll move on to exercise 18.